Spike's Car Radio starts now.
I've seen all good people turn their heads each day, so satisfied I'm on my way. I've seen all good people turn their heads each day, so satisfied I'm on my way.
Welcome to Spike's Car Radio. Hope you're having a good day before Halloween Eve. This is your good friend Spike Ferriston. We're listening to Yes. And you're listening to Spike's Car Radio. I'm happy today. It's Sunday. I'm in Baldwin Hills with some of my friends. We're not smoking cigars. Johnny's very angry about it. None of you guys are up, so you don't have to talk. He's very upset that he can't smoke at 7:30 in the morning. But really what I'm happy about is the Los Angeles Dodgers. There was this moment, and I'm sure you've seen it, but I want to talk about it. Friday, Freddie Freeman hits a grand slam home run, and what I wanted to say about it is it's renewed my love of baseball. My love of baseball was gone. I'm going to turn you guys up now if you want to talk baseball. Baseball has been for so long about two kinds of moments: winning, losing, but also these great sports moments that can just renew your love for the game. And we're sitting there watching the game, my son and I, like you were. I played this moment back over and over again, and it's like, did you guys play baseball growing up? Look at the guys I'm looking at right now. Did any of you play baseball?
Yeah, I played Little League, yes.
Okay, so do you know, it brought me right back, this home run that Freddie hits. Right back to Jimmy Lenahan, Butchie and Richie, and wiffle ball.
He's no better.
No, pretending to have this big moment and then delivering on the moment was just one of the happiest moments of my month. And I'm not even the biggest Dodger fan.
See, go ahead.
That's all right.
I'm the only one here who grew up a Dodgers fan. So I can't remember whose bar mitzvah, but we were at some bar mitzvah. It was game one of the World Series. And by the point that, Gibson was up to bat, like every male in the bar mitzvah had snuck into the bar at the Sportsman's Lodge to watch, because it's the ninth inning. And I'll never forget that moment. A walk-off home run. And same thing happened. An injured player does game one the same way. It was crazy.
I've rewatched the moment over and over again just to supercharge my happiness. I've watched it like 28 times at this point. Keep playing it. And I sensed it was coming, so I'm watching the game with Jack. I called Erica and James in. I go, come on, you just watched, something great could happen here. This is the moment we all dream of when we're playing ball, and then it just does. And then the way he knows it's out.
Oh, he just stood there.
He stops on the first baseline. He holds the bat up.
That was so good.
He drops it. Holy shit!
It was a holy shit.
What a moment!
Also, fuck the Yankees.
I was there last night, as you know.
Yes, Zuckerman then followed up the next night by driving a Dodger-themed GT3 RS. Yeah. What happened?
It was a good photo.
It was a great photo.
Very good photo.
It was the right car. It's the only car I have that's an automatic, and I've been in that traffic going up the hill on off Academy Road.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be on the clutch for an hour, and we got there nice and early. People were amazed at this spaceship rolling in. The guy in Lot F gave me a premier spot.
Nice.
He took my $20. He had Cheeto fingers.
Did he recognize the colorway, the Dodger colorway?
He was just blown away. I don't think he recognized the colorway, other than he just didn't know what he was looking at. And then when I gave him the 20, he really didn't know what happened. Said he wasn't expecting that. I said, keep your eye on my car.
There's more on the other end.
The Dodger fans must have been electric.
A lot
over
of
at Blue.
oh my God, so many people taking pictures around it, because everybody. I had on a blue T-shirt, blue jeans. Everybody had Ohtani, or they had Yamamoto, or everybody was dressed up. Some of them frighteningly so.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my first World Series game.
It's a Halloween World Series.
So you've never been to a World Series
I've never
game.
been to a World Series game, and so I can comment. Okay, and I'm no good-looking guy, but boy, that's a sea of ugly people go there, and a lot of father and son.
You mean to the World Series or just Dodger Stadium?
I don't know. It's my only point of reference. I can just tell you, lots of ugly father and son combinations.
He's texting me during the game. There's this woman yelling. She's annoying me. I go, everybody at that game will annoy you.
She was so
95%.
Ohtani's at bat, and she goes, "Baby, squeeze those cheeks, baby." In my ear, as loud as she could. It was a revolting comment. She was revolting. It was, but
I remember when the kids were little and we were talking about, like, what do you do when the child hears obscenities? And the example that was always offered to us from the teachers was, well, when they go to Dodger Stadium, they're going to hear those words.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
But it was Dodger Stadium. It wasn't out in the world. It was Dodger Stadium.
Dodger Stadium.
That's where the toddler will hear the obscenity.
And I will give you one other detail. You go into that horrible bathroom. At least they've taken the piss troughs out.
Yeah,
at least on the level.
They did?
There were no troughs of urine. There was no one skating down.
In
the
81,
trough.
I went to the 81 World Series.
And there was a piss
And I remember
trough?
the trough. My first time seeing a trough, and I was just,
It was
I didn't
very
know what to
innovative
do.
at the time. It was like
But
brutal.
also it was too high, so my dad made me stand on the edge of the trough.
God.
And there's just
That's why
all
you're so
the
dirty
drugs
to
in
this
LA.
day that you've never become clean ever since then.
No, there's no way to get clean after that.
So listen.
never get
Hold on,
herpes
hold
of
on.
the foot.
But I'm going to tell you something. I may have been the only person that washed hands
Yeah.
after
Oh,
using
100%.
the urinal. Everybody was just in and running out. Hundreds of people with dick fingers running out of the bathroom to go back to the game.
I feel like this is your first sporting event. This is...
It is. And those bathrooms looks like someone took like a fire hose of urine and just sprayed it everywhere. You're walking in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the walls.
Oh, yeah.
It's so foul.
So you're saying VIP suites only from now on?
No, even the VIP suites are that way. I have the ultimate story, and I don't even know if it's true. But when I was in college,
I hope it's false, but go ahead.
Either way.
the people who told me this story swear it's true. Fenway Park, the troughs. Right, they had the urinal troughs.
Sounds bad.
That everybody, and this is college, so early '80s. BU med student, they have to operate on cadavers, removes the penis of a cadaver and puts it in his pocket, goes to Fenway Park that night, pretends to take a leak next to all the other fans, and then goes, and drops the dick in the cup of urine and starts screaming, and everybody else starts screaming. He goes, "My dick came off!"
I mean,
The ultimate prank.
Even if that's fake, it's a good story.
No, I was told to me as if it were
you
true.
could have paid a couple of months of your mortgage on that joke if you had it a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, no, I heard the story as it was told is real, but, without the internet there or anybody taking pictures, this is one of those beautiful things that just flew under the radar and became urban legend,
But there is nothing worse than a men's room at a sporting event with alcohol. I mean, there's just nothing.
It's
One with
terrible.
a dead dick rolling across the floor.
Even that. Here's the thing I saw. Maybe you guys can tell me. Anybody who got a canned beverage at the counter had to open it at the counter. And I have a theory why. No, they couldn't tell me. I have a theory. Do you know why they do it?
Yes.
Tell me why.
So that you can't use it as a projectile as effectively.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
They also take the tops off of bottles.
Right.
You can't leave with a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Yes, because people are animals and use these as projectiles.
Is it people or Americans? Or really LA fans?
Soccer
that
fans.
one is a people. That's global.
Look, I don't know. I was
Soccer shit is way crazier than what happens at even an Eagles game.
The obscenities thing. I went to an Arsenal game in London, and my cousin, who's a season ticket holder, is leading me, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you're in town because my son's a little young, and my daughter, I don't necessarily want her to be around this. You cunt, you fucking cunt!" And the entire game, cunt. The guy in front of us is like, "Ref, you're a cunt with ears. You're a fucking cunt." The whole
There goes
game.
our G rating.
Yeah.
Finally.
Finally. I was at the ballpark in St. Louis. Everybody was great. It was the tone of the city was different. People were really nice.
That's a very polite sports city. City.
But New
Is it?
York,
They would bring
yeah, they are.
batteries to
They're
throw in
great.
Philadelphia.
Philly had its own jail.
Hold on.
The Link had its own prison and a judge.
I was at the opening of the Link. I was in college, and all the Philly people were like, obviously, like major sports fans, complete lunatics. And we went to the opening day of the Link. The Eagles did not do well, and people brought literal batteries to throw.
That's a
D's.
tradition.
But that's football. Football.
No, that's Philadelphia. That's
Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That would be
Football's different.
For Phillies,
Football's
it's the same
different.
story.
I hate football fans.
Oh, Rams fans. Are
Live
the worst.
football fans are bad. But you remember, you and I went to the Tigers game in Detroit when we were shooting
great.
there, right?
That was a good time.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
We smoked cigars. We were chilling out. Everything was just.
Oh, you smoke cigars, huh?
It was when that stadium
boy.
was
Must have been
new.
nice.
It was pretty sweet, actually. That was a good.
Yeah,
it was a good stadium experience.
That was a good time.
Dodger Stadium is gross, but it's gross in a very iconic way.
Yeah.
We have to keep it.
When do they mash that and rebuild it there?
Never.
I think it's one of the
It's one of the three olds. It's
right?
Fenway,
Wrigley,
and
this.
Dodgers. And Dodgers would be, I guess, the third. It's the coolest one, though. It's built into a mountain.
Well, you know what they had to do. They just had
Chavez
to-
Ravine.
Yeah,
very
they just
sad.
had to
Displace-
chase all those people, those poor people out
But
of Chavez
Fernando
Ravine.
Valenzuela made it all okay. Mexicans
Yes.
could like the Dodgers again, and it's been great ever since. So you're talking about ancient history. You should see
know
what
why
happened
they're
to the
called the
Tongan
Dodgers?
Oh, hey,
natives.
hey. Okay.
Do you know why they're called the Dodgers?
Everybody's talking over each other.
Trolley Dodgers.
Try not
Brooklyn
to.
Trolley Dodgers.
Johnny Lieberman, I'm looking at you.
He's asked a
When
question.
people are moving their mouths, just don't talk over them. It gets to be too much. It gets to be too much.
If I had a cigar, I wouldn't be talking so much.
Yeah, you would.
Point Lieberman, but
Never stopped him. In fact, if he has one of those crack cigars, he talks 3 times as much.
you like to get wet.
They are good. But we should talk about cars.
All right.
Should we?
I think we should. We can talk about watches first.
Ooh.
We can talk about wrist aficionado. Let's do a wrist check. What's everybody wearing?
Explorer 2 Whiteface.
Wow. I'm wearing a prototype Sheffield.
I'm wearing a prototype Sheffield.
And I'm wearing the possibly problematically named Explorer Blackface.
What is that? What do you mean?
It's an Explorer too, but I had the dial painted by a guy called the Dial Artist in England, and now has an overhead satellite view map of the island of Bora Bora on the dial.
Wow, that is
and when
weird.
when I look in there, it looks like I'm going on vacation.
What does that do to the value of the watch?
I don't give a shit.
It's just yours forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, or I could like swap in some other dial and here, look.
No, you don't have to hand it to me.
I want to see
Pretty
Bora
cool.
Bora.
I can see it from there. It just,
Yeah.
it's no longer.
I
the
thought it was
I don't
I thought
care.
it was like a Zuckerman face.
I put a
watch.
different engine in my brand new Porsche. I don't care about the dial.
Your hot
of an
rodding
Explorer.
Rolex.
Yeah. I think it's neat. I'm a fan of it.
I like it.
Well, if you're looking for a watch,
Go ahead.
Oh, that's really neat. I like it very much. Now that I can see that it's Bora Bora.
Zuckerman approved.
there's an unparalleled collection of high-end timepieces, top tier at Wrist Aficionado. They have top-tier white glove service, pieces from Patek, Audemars Piguet, Richard Mille, and Rolex. They haven't changed the pronunciation of that one yet. Rolex.
Pronunciation got worse and worse.
I know.
That's good.
Every time I hear these watch brands from somebody else, the pronunciation changes.
Audemars
Richie
Piguet.
Mill. I got me a Richie Mill.
I got a Richard Miley. Sought-after modern pieces are in stock, 100% authenticated by experts. More specialized pieces can be sourced within a day. The global network of trusted collectors. They're in New York, they are in Miami, and they're here in Beverly Hills, Wrist Aficionado. My tennis friends are buying watches. One of the players just bought a $100,000 Patek.
Yes.
He said, I'm going back for another one. I love those guys. There you go. There's the endorsement.
Wow.
Unbelievable. If you're looking for something, I think they also have jewelry. They have purses. They have everything. Their
Cash,
watches.
too.
I always I do their sort, their money sort. Their watches, their highest watches are just over 2.5 million. And those are
In
the
case you got that laying around.
Richard Milles.
Dick
Is that
Mile.
how he pronounces it?
Dick Mile.
Dickie Mills.
Dickie Mills.
Let's write a heist movie.
But we love these guys at Wrist Aficionado, and welcome to Spike's Car Radio, Wrist Aficionado. Thank you. Go to wristaficionado.com. Okay, big auction. Junk. Classic cars worth millions, hiding out in South LA Junkyard to be auctioned. Guess what? It was
I was there.
the Rudy Klein collection. Some of the rarest biggest rusted out pieces of shit and most valuable automobiles of 20. Another man's junk is crap you can buy on his vast acreage.
Well said.
The Rudy Klein auction. It is kind of a cool story. What was it? Acme Wrecking in South LA, built in 1971, sprawling junkyard. And this guy, he was passionate about cars, right? And he would buy all these
lunatic.
old junkers and parts
I think
and engines. And
there's a hagiography going on. So apparently Rudy Klein, who was Jewish, a German Jew, didn't like to tell anyone he was Jewish. He just pretended he was a mean old German. And was like
You just pronounced it Klein.
yeah, and he was a tough negotiator. And he was the guy. It was Porsche, like foreign auto wrecking, and Porsche threatened to sue him. So he just took the S out of Porsche. So it was Porche auto wrecking. Porsche auto wrecking.
Auto wrecking.
That was his solution. And yeah, he
For
was
real?
Yeah, for real.
And so he passes away when?
I think a long time ago, and then finally his two kids figured out, like, hey, we could auction this junk off. And man, were some of the dollar amounts wild.
It's shocking because we saw what I thought was the death of the classic car market when we were at Pebble Beach. It was all hypercars. And they were beautiful classic cars for sale at the auctions. They didn't move. And then all of this rusted, broken up shit goes for record numbers.
Well, I mean, I went through every lot, Zuckerman. Did you look at the lots?
I looked at some of them, yeah.
I mean, I went through, and every car like that you're holding up, Johnny, I just went, there's no world where I want that headache of starting over with that.
This is my absolute favorite one. This one actually
They
sold.
have
One
them
second.
Sold for $22,000.
1 second, Johnny.
Yeah.
Nobody can see what we're doing there.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
The 1956 Mercedes-Benz Alloy is something you're not going to be able to find, right? So
No.
you're buying a VIN number, you're buying a restoration. It's sold for like twice the estimate.
It sold. Yeah,
It
sold
still
for
seems-
9.3.
It's still
$9.3 million.
before,
But hang
before
on,
commission.
It was one of the 29. It's the only one
black.
that was black.
Yeah.
It's been missing since Rudy got it in the 70s.
But it's you're building a new car from scratch.
It's going to cost you a couple mil.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's going to be worth 14 mil when you're done.
Yeah,
so.
but you're nothing on it. I mean, what are you taking from the original bones?
The interior's actually fine. The engine's fine.
The
Everything's
interior's fine.
Yeah, you know
It can't be fine. What are you talking about?
It was
that one
outside.
was in good. He had some cars that were in good shape.
Wait, what?
It was a runner.
I'm talking about the alloy.
Yeah. No, it runs. It was just dirty.
I looked at it. No, you have to do everything.
No, it's okay.
No, it's okay.
This is a restorer's dream. Christmas came to
Yeah.
the restorer
Yeah.
community.
See this, Spike?
Yeah,
Describe what you're looking at.
yeah.
A lot of people buying could have easily been the restoration houses themselves, because in many cases they're buying these like one owner.
Yeah, like a Kidston, like a Simon Kidston kind of a guy.
Yeah, but here, Johnny, show
Okay,
them that picture.
This is
Just show them the picture.
1968 Ferrari 275 GTS charred hull.
Yeah.
So,
You're buying a VIN.
but that,
It's a VIN.
You're
but
buying a
that's
chassis plate.
that's my point.
Yeah.
You're buying a VIN.
Yeah.
At that point, and if it's a car like this Alloy, I guess if you want to go on that ride, but still, those cars end up having a little bit of stink on them. Because they had already died, and you're bringing them back. They're not as nice as the preservation versions of it. And I looked at the Alloy, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know much about Goings, but I do know a little bit about restoration, and that to me was beyond something I would touch.
Well,
the rest of these cars, I was just like, fuck, what are you doing with this garbage?
I was with
It's such a nightmare. Just get something newer. Seek something else out. And with the Alloy, sure.
Yeah, I was there with like the Mercedes Classic Center guys
Well,
who
of
were
course.
buying parts.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, wow, we'd love to get a hold of that because
Yeah.
it's a restorer's dream. Because everything's there on that car. There's nothing missing.
But the Ferrari you just hold up, which is a cube
there's
of
nothing
steel.
there.
That is a
Right.
pure VIN number.
You know in movies when
Yeah.
they kill a guy and dispose of the body?
Yeah.
It looks like
You're-
after it gets squirted out
So
of the
what happens in that
squeezer.
situation is a new chassis, a new everything, and you get to write the new number on it.
Yeah.
So you take the chassis plate out of the
Yeah.
hull, and you take your $300,000 resto mod, you put the chassis plate on it, and you add a zero. It's a $3 million Ferrari.
This would have been
No,
great
no,
in the
no, no,
80s
no,
before cameras, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Zuckerman, he's not hearing what I'm saying. It's not an instant $3 million. You have a car with a story that was, you could say this is the new version of that VIN number. But when it comes down to the two cars like you and I are going to buy, are we going to buy the preservation example, or are we going to buy the one that's been completely recreated from steel with the same VIN number? That car is not as valuable as the one that's been with us the whole time, that never died, Zuckerman.
I agree 100% with you. I mean, it's the same old story. You take a preservation car, known history, always kept by an owner nicely, and then you put this thing that was made, at one of the restorers. It's not equal.
It's not equal. That's right.
However, if I may, like old race cars that crash and get burned up, like a 250 GTO, happened to a lot of them. The chassis plate, that's all you need is that number plate. If you have that, you can rebuild the entire car.
Well, as knowing someone who buys these cars all the time and lives in New York and is a comedian, you track down those stories. You're exactly right. Those cars that crash and burn, those are the ones you don't buy generally unless you have no other choice.
Well, yeah, but
and guys, when you're talking
choice.
about the GTO market, which you just referenced, we know guys who sell those cars, and the guys who buy them are billionaires, and they want the best of the best. They don't want the car.
But there's only 33 of them. By the way,
but they wait. They wait for the best of the best. They don't buy down the line.
There's only 33 of those. There's only 29 alloy body gull-wings. This thing is
the gull-wing is a bad one to fight over because it's probably
valuable.
Just by existing, even if you don't touch it, it's still obviously almost $10 million just by sitting there. You might as well just.
But it's not going to be the best in the pecking order of all those cars, which is my point.
I'm saying focusing on that car.
Yeah.
Doesn't represent everything else, which is that people were paying a lot of money for like crashed 356s when for only another like 30 or 40 grand you could get a running like good 356.
Exactly. There was there was a Carrera 356. There was a 356 Carrera.
The one
that market's down. Why would you buy that?
And then pulled up was the B coupe.
Yeah, the B 1600S Roadster.
Look at that.
That I mean, literally, it's a fatality. Like somebody died in that vehicle.
$62,000.
Why? What do you?
And you've got to put 200 into that to make it worth 120.
You take the chassis plate and you stick it in another car. And
we know people who do that.
And think about Zuckerman, like anytime you've had a car with a little bit of accident damage, right? Like, didn't you have a car? What was it? The Speedster?
Yeah.
Yeah, that had a little bit. That dings the price. Like any new car you buy, it took a hit in the door. There's something on the Carfax compared to what you're looking at here.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about 2019 Speedster that was rear-ended outside of Cafe Lux by a friend of ours. I won't say Tim's name, but it was an embarrassing moment for him.
And people are like, I'm not buying that one. I'm going to wait for one that hasn't been crashed outside of Cafe Lux and had a little ding in it. But they're buying these things that look like crumpled pieces of wax paper.
It's the power of hype when you see it. Yeah. It's exciting. You're part of it. And we go back to the old auction thing we said. It's called the win-lose and the lose-win. When you win at the auction, you instantly have this feeling. The endorphins wear off so quick and you go, oh, fuck, I just paid more than anyone. I'm a loser. And when you lose, you have a realization, I just saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's terrific.
Yeah.
It was funny, though, because there was guys, and because I knew Mercedes was there, the Classic Center, bidding on parts and stuff, and they just want to buy engines and blocks. And they're bidding against these guys in the audience who they don't know they're bidding against the Classic Center. And I'm like, you're gonna lose. The Classic Center is gonna kill you. But they didn't always win. Some of these guys were like this guy. They were bidding on like a 300 SL, like a new old stock crankshaft. And he at 5,000 he gets out of it, and I'm like thinking, okay, this guy couldn't do the 5,000. They start putting on the LA Go-Away. His hand goes up at 5 million. I'm like, okay,
this wasn't actually worth my time.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, I'll get another one for less.
I make 5,000 a minute.
Yeah.
Could you tell who was the big hitter and who wasn't in that crowd?
I mean, look, there was a couple guys that you'd think they were dressed for Halloween, but they weren't. They're just eccentric, and that's how they dress. So you could tell them. But I was talking to this guy behind me, nice guy, normal guy, talking. All of a sudden, a BMW 502, which is not in good shape, and I can't imagine is worth anything. His hand starts going up, and he taps out at like 52,000. And I go, "How come?" He goes, "It's only worth 25, and I just wanted to get it." But here's my insane BMW collection in Munich. And the guy has everything, like
507s,
M1, everything but a McLaren. Like literally everything but a McLaren. Like it's the third biggest BMW collection in the world.
Why did you go?
Why not? It'd be fun. I like.
Oh,
garages.
just for fun.
Go to a junkyard.
I think the junkyard, like it's like the ultimate sort of quote, barn find, pick and pull. A pick and pull with only like going and 356 parts is pretty nuts.
I like that old Nazi 540. That sold for a lot of money, right?
Yeah, that's going to be the next Nazi car to win a trophy. At
That
was actually under the
status
estimate a
quo
little
will
bit.
be maintained.
I was kind of there, with RM, and they were, before the show, they're like, the Gullwing's only going to go for 3.5. Like, we have it listed at 4.5 to 6, but it's only going to go for 3.5. But this car, the Nazi car, they didn't say that, but the 500K, this is going to be the one, and it was under.
Do you think that car is what Rudy used to portray an angry German as opposed to a Jew?
I don't know,
but drove it around up and down Sunset, scraping Heil.
There were
You can't drive
Boulevard.
You can't drive any of these cars.
Maybe you could have at one point. I don't know.
Yeah, these.
It
were
was
like
a junkyard.
No, these are the runners. He had a
there were
couple.
a couple running cars.
Yeah, no, like that Gullwing ran fine.
Do you think he disposed of bodies in the junkyard in the Rockford
Yes.
Files days?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think this is the guy, Rudy, you brought the
Yeah.
body to, put it in the trunk, and he put it in the crusher?
Portrayed in Pulp Fiction.
That was the funny part. Was like the RM guy was saying, like, they're checking your bags for weapons. And meanwhile, there's like knives and like all kinds of car
I
parts
could
you could
stab
use.
you with anything. With a
Yeah.
Gullwing hood strut.
Why would they check for weapons at a car auction?
Just security.
Really?
Yeah, and there were some
That's
people
weird.
there. There were some people there with private security. That was causing all kinds of problems.
So they were trying to protect the people, the clientele there.
I got turned away. I was trying to park.
That doesn't surprise me.
They told
Look
me
at
I had
you.
a- I had
Look
a-
at you.
They told me I had a VIP spot. I got turned away, and I was talking to RM. I'm like, yeah, that's the guy that turned me away. They're like, oh, no, he's somebody else's security. That's not us.
That's hilarious. So who was the rich guy with security?
There was a couple.
Who?
There's one I'll tell you after the show.
Just tell us.
After the
Heinz
show.
He was there
Klima.
in person.
After the
he was
show.
there in the
You can't
public.
just like not be. Yeah, there's
This
No one
private-
cares.
This one could
No
have
one
repercussions.
cares.
This one could have repercussions.
How?
No,
After
wait,
the
no.
show.
Edwin Castro was there.
Edwin Castro was there.
What are the repercussions going to be?
Zuckerman, Edwin Castro.
Yes.
He keeps a low profile and who's in the tabloids every week.
Yeah, with security.
I can't come on the show. I want to keep a low profile.
He was
But here
there.
I am with a hot chick.
Here I am on the Daily Mail. I bought 2 cars on a date. Went to Nobu. Castro.
He was there. and we
I'm
hung
done
out.
with Castro.
We hung out.
Castro's been uninvited.
What's the repercussions you're going to have? What are you? What are
Personal.
you?
I'll
What
tell
are
you
you
after the
up
show.
to?
Personal.
Is he lending you money? What have you gotten into?
He's lending me money.
He got him a 930 turbo to keep quiet.
He's got a 914
turbo
restoration.
No, that'll never happen.
Over 2 years ago, Race Deck was invented, cost-effective, durable, and truly do-it-yourself modular floor system. Zuckerman, I was looking at the beautiful cars in your garage and loving the floor. Are you happy with your
So
Race
happy.
Deck floor?
So happy.
You have an old 356 in there, and you have the GT3 RS, and you have the Race Deck floor. It looks amazing. 20 styles to transform your ugly garage into the coolest garage on the block. They have a new YouTube commercial they wanted us to mention. The new Your Garage Sucks. Get some Race Deck. Essentially some version of that. Self-draining design allows for liquids to flow freely, drains out the door. Look, the Zagato was just in the home garage where they're going to put a Race Deck floor in, and I need the self-draining. Because, that 356 transmission issue, doesn't matter if you rebuild it or not, it's going to leak transmission fluid all over your floor. Doesn't matter how much it leaks, it's still going to never run out. It's the most bizarre situation, but I need that Race Deck floor, and I need it fast. Race Deck can handle vehicle rolling loads in excess of 80,000 pounds, will not chip, peel, or stain. Over 33 patents with the product line. And to celebrate that new commercial, shop at racedeck.com and use code SPIKE911 for 20% off and free shipping. Just for the next week or so, happy Halloween from racedeck.com. Use code SPIKE911 for 20% off. That's only for the next week or so. So get it done. Get it done. All right. You guys want to get into some controversy?
Ooh,
Yes.
Yeah.
let's
And I
talk
think we're going to have
shit
to be
about
careful with this because it's, in the last year, friends of our shows, various shows have gotten into trouble. Some have gone to jail. Right? And we keep getting sucked into these situations and to be quiet about it, I think, is also wrong. But Radford Motors filed for bankruptcy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
sad.
could see that coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jensen and Ant are friends of the show.
Jensen's a good dude.
The company's bankruptcy filing comes after one of his business partners, Pastor Velasco, filed a lawsuit against the TV star I guess that's Ant. And one of his co-founders, Daniel Bednarski, on March 8th in Orange County, claiming he's owed $2 million. Several months later, on July 24th, another complaint was filed by co-owner Roger N. Bell Jr., alleging Anstead and Bednarski mismanaged the company's finances. I also read here, and this is odd, that Bednarski, this guy, who the filing claims was Anstead's life coach.
Oh, boy.
Prior to becoming Radford's chief financial officer.
Oh.
Zuckerman's my life coach, so.
Oh, man.
So did you hear this? They secured a new sale of $100,000, according to this lawsuit. However, hours after the money was wired, Anstead and Bednarski took $54,000 and change from this deposit and used it to pay a vendor for work unrelated to the new Clements vehicle.
Boy.
Is that bad?
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I think it's sad. I wanted those guys to win. Predictable, but sad.
But isn't, it's one of the hardest things in the world is to start a new car brand and a new car
difficult.
company. Is this the end of the road for Radford? It's a beautiful car.
I would think. What do you guys think?
I mean, it seems likely that if they, at this point, if they can't get it together, it's that or they're just going to keep hammering at it for like 12 years.
Like Fisker?
Like Jerry Wiegert.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that'll end well. No, I mean, my thing was like, show me the car. Like they had that one prototype, as far as I could tell, which they had a party and
They didn't deliver any cars?
I don't.
think
Did they? I
there
never
was just
saw
the two
one.
cars.
There was
the
never
one
a
that
drive.
was like the black John Player special one,
Right.
Right.
And then there was another one
red
that was
one.
like the gold leaf,
gold and
tobacco
red.
one.
But I just.
But
never,
you look back. I mean, we all know Jensen and Ant, and they're great guys as far as we know. We hang out with them, and they've been guests on the show. But you look back at like Carroll Shelby and what he was up to, but when he was starting that brand, selling the same car to three guys, just to keep going. I mean, isn't there a certain amount of that goes on just to get a company up and running?
The company has to survive.
It has to survive.
Right. You're an asshole.
And by the way,
survive.
By
You're
the
a
way,
genius.
Carroll Shelby had Cobras to sell. Like, yes, for the first couple months, he took the same car and kept painting it so it looked like he had a bunch of them. That got people to buy it.
That was his press car, though. That wasn't the cars that he was selling.
No, but he did deliver Cobras to customers.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So there's a little bit of cowboy financing going on. You got to do what you have to do to get your company going, Zuckerman, or not?
Look, there's some you have to do what you have to do, but ultimately, if you're soliciting deposits and investments, you do have to not put that money in your pocket. You have to be running a business with it.
But allegedly, it's saying they were paying another vendor. I mean, this, according to a lawsuit, as you've said before, can say anything it wants to say.
It says anything, but if you take a deposit on a car, you must maintain that deposit in trust for the eventual, for the eventual sale of that car. You cannot use that money for other purposes. That's why it's a deposit.
And even back to Weigert, he made 17 and delivered 17 Vector W8s. Like there was actually cars.
Yeah, but like it took
a long time.
It took so many years to build the first Vector. I think it went across possibly 3 decades. I think
for sure.
I think it began in the 70s,
71 was
and then finally delivered in the 90s or 90 maybe.
Is Vector still around?
No. Vector
The
Automotive
IP was for sale for a while.
I think we're just learning it's really hard to start a car company.
I'll tell you what else is hard: holding on to other people's money. I'm a fiduciary, and I'm responsible for people's money, and.
You're a fidouche.
Yes, and most people don't understand the obligations that come with holding on to other people's money, and they look at that trust account, they look at the money in there, and lawyers are stealing all the time, Hollywood people are stealing, everybody just looks over there, and,
It's hard, right? That money comes over.
If you're suddenly rubbing elbows with a lot of rich, wealthy potential buyers, maybe you start to think you got to look and act a certain way.
Yeah.
And then oh boy.
Think about how hard it is to start a company where your car is based on being able to get parts and cars from Lotus. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Talk about an uphill battle.
Why is that hard?
That's a bad premise.
Well,
Lotus.
they when I was in England in summer of 23, last summer, I went to the Lotus factory and I saw in Hethel, and I saw many hundreds, if not many thousands, of Emiras that couldn't be delivered because they hadn't met CARB, they hadn't been given clearance to go to China or whatever it was, just piling up. And it's only been very recently that North American customers have been able to get Emiras. Like every bad thing that could have happened to a car company between like 2020 and now has pretty much happened to Lotus, and
will keep happening. They're sort of cursed, and it's also like they're just in the weirdest spot. Like that's it. It's like, you know, we have Detroit, and then like, you know, you just start a car company in Alaska. Like it's so far away from everything.
Yeah.
And as my cousin said, like, you know, it's filled with a lot of people that go, London? I've been to London once.
Yeah.
You know, it's out in the sticks.
I saw an Emira on the LA freeway the other day. It looked beautiful.
Have you driven one yet?
Yeah, they're great.
They drive great.
Yeah, I know.
They're cool.
Can you buy one around here?
Yeah, you can buy one from Galpin.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the dealer.
Wow.
But imagine trying to start a car company, you know, and basing on that. That's tough.
Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, and you're also probably talking to like the Chinese owners at some point in the process.
When Ann and Jensen came on my show, did great radio. It was a lot of fun, whatever. But they were talking about the Radford brand. Like it was really like a staple of their childhood.
Yeah.
And that may have been a little too inside baseball to sell cars to a North American crowd or a global crowd. Like no one in fucking California knows. Do any of us know what Radford really was?
It a tuner?
I didn't, but I liked the car when I saw it, and I believed in those guys.
Yeah, and I'm not.
You know what I mean?
The car, which looks great,
but
yeah.
it's the problem.
The brand isn't. It's a weird name. Doesn't really.
Right.
Mean anything.
It's the problem Mercedes ran into initially with Maybach. It's like we're bringing back Maybach, and Americans are like, what?
What's a fucking? Maybach?
Why would I pay $400,000 for that?
So Radford was a British coach builder that was doing minis in the '60s, and they did minis for like the Beatles and like Mr. Bean had a custom mini. It was almost like the Holland and Holland Range Rovers or something, Overfinch, but for minis, like a thing like that. So I guess if you grew up in London, you know, in that time, mod sort of era, then it means something, but it doesn't mean anything.
Zero resonance.
Yeah.
What happens to the track?
Well, P.S. By the way,
we talked about this on your show.
Johnny was on my show. We talked about this. P.S. is Road and Track has rented the Radford School for an event in 3 weeks that I will be at. So I hope it's still open. Like I don't know if it was part of this is like close your racetrack.
Wow.
Like we got a deposit. So.
Well,
Did they spend it on something else?
stranger things have happened. They say they're going to keep going with it. Let's see. See if
Okay,
they do.
but it seems Ant and it seems like the two principals are at odds, right?
I don't know. I haven't
Ant and
spoken to
Jensen.
Ant. I got an email about some film festival from him last week. I couldn't get there, but I don't know. I don't know them that well.
I don't know.
But we'll have them on. Let them tell their side of it.
Maybe we can bring a rogues gallery of people to be on that day.
Welcome to our green room, boys. Why, who's that? That's Radamak. You're in there now. We'll all be in there soon. After 2 years of teasing the off-road world, guess who arrived this week? The new Scout. Traveler SUV and the Scout Terra pickup truck. Did you guys see this?
We did.
Yes.
Owned by our friends at
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. Porsche comes before Volkswagen.
Sorry.
Oh, we're redoing the letters now?
I don't want Volkswagen. It's just the stupidest name for that company. They've got
Badge?
got Bentley.
You don't like Vag?
Badge?
They've got Bentley. They got Porsche. They got, and they call it the Volkswagen Group. What? That's the worst of the brands. In that, come on, I would call it the Scout Group before the Volkswagen.
What
Group.
about the Seat Group or the Skoda Group?
There's only one worse. Stellantis.
Which is
And Stellantis guy is in trouble.
That might be going away soon.
Yeah.
Stellantis guy. I was looking at him and reading that story. The story's about just him calling everything wrong and pricing his own customers out of his own cars. And he's got a face and a body and a suit, a Nosferatu-like look. And you're just like, he really had to do well to escape the way he looks. You know what I mean? He really had to do well. Like you look at Jim Farley and Ford, and you go, all right, those guys, they make perfect sense together. Wherever Jim goes and Ford goes, it's great for Jim. He looks like the CEO. That Stellantis guy, forget it. He had to win times 10 for anybody to like him. And I'm sorry if you're listening.
Can we buy the name for our own brand of
Stellantis?
male enhancement pills?
Yeah, we can.
You just want to buy the trademark to Ram.
Oh, yeah. Ram Stellantis. These blue pills are called Stellantis Rams.
What is it that he did? That he just
Well, he came from Nissan.
But do I have it right that he overpriced the Jeep brand and other brands?
Just did all sorts of weird things like that. Yeah, I mean, he also just let like Chrysler and Dodge sort of die. Do
you know that there's only one Chrysler right now?
There is.
Really?
There's one. The Pacifica is the only Chrysler.
You can't go buy a Charger? Or
That's a Dodge.
300.
That's a Dodge.
I'm talking about under
Chrysler.
the Chrysler brand.
Yeah,
there's
300's
one
dead.
car.
Chrysler.
It's just the. It's
Are
just
there
the
Chrysler
Pacifica.
dealerships that are
Yes.
standalone with one?
They're usually like Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram. It's like all in one.
Imagine if just one Chrysler dealership
but-
with just that car everywhere.
But it was a weird decision, and this actually predates Tavares. But it was, they stopped making the Dodge minivan. So they said all minivan sales will be Chryslers.
Yeah.
Because they could have just said shut down Chrysler and make it the Dodge Pacifica.
Yeah.
It was,
Well, look.
it was strange.
I like the Scout. I don't know what you guys thought, but let me go over some details here. Four-wheel drive provided by an electric motor at either axle, with Scout claiming output of 1,000 pounds of torque. No horsepower figures, which is good. I don't want to see horsepower figures with electric cars. 0 to 60, 3.5 seconds.
That's too fast. Why does this need to be that fast?
And
It's not.
range,
That's 700 horsepower, by the way.
350 miles in all-electric range claimed, not tested along the pure EV variant. Scout will also offer a range extender model, which will use a small internal combustion engine. Oh, good. As a generator to add juice back to the battery. So a hybrid.
My wife is very excited about that. She's been asking, why can't we she's like, why does the plug-in hybrids have such small, and Johnny, you and I know the answer to this, but have a small battery and then a puny gasoline engine. I want to feel like an EV, but just have a little bit of gas engine there so I
Right.
don't feel stranded if I can't
That's
charge.
the BMW i3 had that.
Basically, but they they hamstringed it by giving it a very tiny gas tank.
Right.
So you couldn't. It wasn't actually that.
So, yeah.
to game a naming system.
But what did you guys think of the Scout?
Well,
Did you
real quick, just so the listeners know, so there's plug-in hybrids, PHEVs, and then this is an EREV, extended range electric vehicle. So the gas motor doesn't power the wheels; it just charges the battery.
But most of the Scouts aren't going to have a gas motor in it.
no, and by the way, when it comes out in 3 years, like battery,
And then what does Rivian think of all in this?
Rivian?
Didn't Porsche make a big investment? I mean, the Audi group.
Yeah,
Rivian?
They bought technology you'll never see. They bought the motor control technology essentially, and the chipset. So Rivian doesn't care as long as
Is any of that in the Scout, do you think?
it'll probably all be in
Probably
the Scout.
all of
yeah,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it'll also be in every Porsche, Bentley, Lamborghini, Volkswagen, Skoda, Seat made. Well,
But it shares a lot less with the Rivian than it looked like it would, given the first. I saw the first picture or that video of them driving on stage. I was like, have they just rebodied Rivians?
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like. And the more you look at it, and especially the more you read about the size of it, they haven't. But it looks an awful lot like they did.
You know what I didn't care for was the T in Scout. Looked a little soft to me. It looked a little like a C, like scoos or something. It didn't. I'm not getting a T in the T there. That was my only
That's
real complaint.
hilarious.
Was Scout. It looked like Stoat. Almost. I kept seeing Stoat or Scoos. Yeah.
Hey.
But I'm excited to see
so
the Scout brand.
The truck is massive. So the truck's the Terra. It's the size of an F-150 essentially. So it's a Rivian.
huge.
A Rivian has a 4.5 foot bed. This thing has a 5.5 foot bed. Rivian's wheelbase is like 135. This is a 148 inch wheelbase. It's a much bigger vehicle than the Rivian pickup. And then
Rivians are already so long.
yeah, this is F-150.
Rivian pickups are really long.
But this is longer. And then the SUV, the Traveler, is smaller. It's a 2-row. It's weird. It has a shorter wheel, not much shorter, like a 1 inch shorter wheelbase than the Rivian SUV, the R1S, but it's much longer. But I think it's I think they're measuring the external spare tire.
Yeah.
Because they also said it's 91 inches wide, which means that's the mirrors. Because a Ram TRX is 88 inches wide. So,
yeah.
So they're they probably hired a bunch of like Silicon Valley people to do car specs, and they're like, just measure it.
Well, let's hope they put these Vredestein tires on these cars.
Yes.
How's that for an awkward segue?
That means Vredestein needs 35-inch tires.
Vredestein, the official tire partner of Spike's Car Radio. You have Vredesteins on your Rivian, so what tire would we put on this new Scout?
Actually, I took them off. I got to get a new set. So
what happened?
Oh, there's one of them wore out. So, you put the Pinzas on. Pinzas.
The Pinza AT.
Yeah.
Pinza AT.
That's what, but you need an 35-inch.
I have the L-Track Pros. We've been selling a lot of those. I think that's what Wally got. I also have the Grip Classic on my Series 2A. Erica has the Quad-Track Pro on her car. Oh, the L-Track Pro is a different one. That was a car, I think, that we're getting on Zuckerman's BMWs. Jerry has Vredesteins on his Volkswagens. Do you have Vredesteins on any of your cars?
I did on the Mach-E before we give it back. Now all of our cars are old.
Why did you put them on the Mach-E? What problem were you solving?
I
just wanted.
The problem was my old tires needed to be replaced. that was the problem.
Interesting.
No, but it actually was good timing because we replaced them just before winter, and it was a very rainy season here, and they were fantastic in the wet. They were really, really good, and they didn't affect the range at all.
I've noticed that sidewall. That's what I keep noticing. Bill has him. I got him for his Range Rover. My brother got him on his Audi. Everybody loves the sidewall. It's got a sidewall design. Who knew that I'd get excited about sidewall design?
Giugiaro in some cases.
That's right.
In many
80s
cases.
tire.
Anyway, check out Vredestein tires if you're looking for them. They're sold locally where you are. Just go to Vredestein.com and check them out. All right, here's some good stuff, Zuckerman. You sent me a funny story, Zuckerman. Let's talk about this story about the car dealer who carjacked his own car. Oh, here it is. Florida dealer repos Honda via carjacking and now is going to jail himself.
Didn't really think that through.
A Florida man has been convicted by a federal jury for carjacking a customer because of a missed payment. Evidence presented at the trial asserted the 24-year-old victim, an immigrant from Haiti, bought a 2020 Honda Accord from an outfit called Guru Auto Sales. Guru. Paperwork for the deal seems to have been shrouded in a bit of secrecy, with the victim claiming they were never given a copy of the sales agreement before driving away. The second red flag is tossed up when it was revealed the car lot allegedly insinuated the buyer would be making payments directly to a financial institution instead of, at least initially, through a third party, the dealership. That doesn't seem so weird, right? To a bank?
It depends.
Let me fill you in on the rest of the story. Customer unfortunately bounced the first payment, all right, the check, but made that right by paying it and a late fee. Nevertheless, the dealership sent a letter mid-December by the bank saying it would have to buy out the loan for its balance because of a missed payment. However, it seems the dealership was expressly told it was not allowed to repossess the car at this point. However, 5 days later, a fellow by the name of Eric Haddad, an associate with Guru Auto Sales, caught up with the customer after following them to a red light. At that point, Haddad ripped off the car's temporary tag and chased the victim to another stop where he screamed at him to get out of the car while aiming a gun at him. The customer had apparently never previously met Haddad.
Shocking.
But the gun had the desired effect, and he got out and handed Haddad the keys.
Because Haddad only gets called in when you miss the payment.
You think Haddad is the Hungarian
Haddad's
of Guru
the muscle.
Auto Sales?
Yeah.
Haddad sounds like he's effective. Okay? His methods have become questionable.
Yeah. Was Haddad
a loyal
the owner?
servant.
Haddad worked for the dealer at
he wasn't
Guru
the
Auto
owner.
Sales.
Okay.
No. He's just a guy who said, I'm going to repossess it, boss. You can count on me. Has a gun in his belt and says, get out of the car, and flashes it. And the guy thinks he's getting carjacked. And Haddad's going to jail.
He's a fucking 80s movie villain.
We love him. We're here at the beginning of Apocalypse Now, where we're having a little conference. We go, his methods have become unsound. He, frankly, is completely insane. Let's go send him to repossess cars.
Yeah. Well,
Zuckerman, can a dealer repossess a car? Do you have to hire
that?
Huh?
Not a gunpoint.
Not pistol whipping people in the middle of Miami.
But don't you have to hire like some sort of bonded subcontractor?
Yeah, repo man, and there's rules how to do it. It's not, you don't
do it with the gun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You put an ignition block in, whatever. There's a lot of other ways other than gunplay.
I'm really going to impress the boss. I'm going to get that car back that's not in need of being repossessed.
Also, here's your temporary
was my
tag.
first day on the job. They didn't tell me how to do it.
Okay, here's how I think I do this. First, I tear off the temporary plate.
Right.
Second, I come to the window and I show my gun. Oh, that's going to work. Well,
And
it
so
did work.
why go to the trouble if the guy did make the payment with the late fee?
It's
Why?
Florida.
Well, I
This
know
is
it's
why.
I
Florida.
think anyone sounds sane in this whole story.
Yeah, the whole story is
He's
a
like,
mess.
but if I don't use the gun, then
Right.
I've wasted the money by buying. It's about
Right.
the using.
Yeah.
Here's another story that caught my eye this week. Men's beards have been found to carry more bacteria than dogs, Johnny.
Okay.
We're back here. Oh, and Matt.
Nice.
Yeah.
And here's why, and that's concerning.
Okay. This is great.
This is where it sounds authentic.
Is this-
Scientists in Switzerland
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
the beard capital of the world.
have released a study that determines that men's beards carry more germs than dogs' fur. They weren't even looking to determine this. They just stumbled upon it accidentally.
This is like Dieselgate. They just found it by accident.
Researchers
They weren't
at
even
Switzerland's Hirslander Clinic were performing a study to determine if humans could contact dog-borne diseases through medical equipment. They wanted to test an MRI scanner that was used for both humans and animals. So the scan is to make sure we can't give disease to each other. But instead, they ended up finding something else. And I'm bringing this up, Johnny, because we've always alleged that your beard is filthy.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And I think here's the proof.
Spike, why don't you just give me a kiss and get it over with?
In order to test this, researchers at the clinic took swabs of beards of 18 men and the neck fur of 30 dogs for bacteria. After testing 18 men between the ages of 18 and 76. Wow, that's a broad swath.
Yeah.
Studies determined that all of the bearded men had a high microbial count. 7 of the men even reportedly had microbes that could be considered a threat to human health.
Listen, the Swiss are disgusting. Everyone knows this.
Classification on what this actually means hasn't been given. In comparison, of the 30 dogs tested, only 23 of the dogs had high microbial counts.
Is it possible that this, because we're talking Switzerland, was it all moldy cheese?
Is it possible that Johnny is dirtier than a dog? Zuckerman.
Well, that goes without saying.
The question to you, Zuckerman, and not Johnny.
Well, it's clear.
On my phone,
It's clear.
how I have the history of all the pictures that we've had over the years, like, us in Pebble Beach, and you find the used condom like from 20 years ago. I keep all these. I found one the other day of somebody made of a guy, me in surgical gear, touching your beard and showing microbes. And I'm like, what was this even about? And then I remembered this old story.
What a memory.
About your dirty beard.
Fantastic.
and our plan to test his beard for microbes. Would you like to follow through on that?
No. Nobody cares.
Everybody
and
cares.
So what? How long have I been sitting on this fucking couch with my beard?
I will
it's
say,
affected you none.
Your beard looks
Nothing.
surprisingly clean, but I think
Thank
it's because
you.
this is a morning show.
If I could
So I
have my
think as the day
cigar.
goes on.
And my cigar would be killing the microbes right now.
Aren't microbes everywhere? I mean,
Yeah.
microbes are just on every part of
It's
us.
the thing that
Yeah.
exists in the world, and we never see.
What did they
or
say?
feel.
Gym equipment has 257 times the amount of microbes as a toilet seat.
Yeah, that was,
Oh,
makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh, yeah, rubber mats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to.
Well, gyms are disgusting. I mean, gyms are literally
You
disgusting.
got to wash your hands all the time. Man 77 meant to sell ill-gotten erectile drugs in sprawling Florida retirement community, Fed says. This is another story,
I like that
Zuckerman.
these stories don't even have to do with cars.
No.
They're just like-
We're done with the car show.
done, yeah.
These are stories that Zuckerman sends me.
I got
Yes,
a brand new Porsche in the
supposedly.
driveway. Who cares?
Oh, we'll talk about that. Federal authorities arrested 77-year-old man for allegedly buying $1,800. So this guy, did you read this story, Zuckerman?
No.
He buys erectile dysfunction drugs without a prescription in a different state, then brings them to the Florida retirement community known as the Villages and sells them at a premium. And he's arrested. But this is retirees. They're
What's wrong with what
80,000
he's
old.
doing?
Huh?
He's got customer service. It's just customer service. Big deal.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Businessman.
Boners are not a crime.
He wants to eat a little better at the commissary. It's just like prison.
But I saw a Blue Chew tie in here. I mean, Blue Chew should just run right down to the Villages right now and find this guy. They're not even advertising in the show this week, but they should find this guy and go, look, give the folks the Blue Chew.
Do they have his name? We can bring him on the show.
This is like Suge Knight getting Tupac and Snoop out of jail. Like,
No, they're
listen, you're
protecting
death
his
row
name.
Artists now.
They're protecting his name in the story. They don't want anybody to know.
They don't
But
want
everybody
his phone to
shrugs
start
off.
ringing. He's probably listed in the yellow page.
Yeah.
Everybody shrugs off the Villages. It's like, whatever. These folks are dying in a couple of years. They can do whatever they want. They can shoot heroin. We don't care.
They can shoot boner medications.
Boner medication. They can swing. There's all these reports of STDs and swinging. Whatever. Enjoy your life.
do they
If
get
you're
the
retired,
feds?
crimes don't count.
What's that?
You're saying that if you're retired, crimes don't count.
You
We
count
did the
this as a
story on
crime?
Seinfeld, the stealing the batteries. Yeah, stealing batteries, who cares? Uncle Leo, remember? And Jerry's parents were stealing batteries. Somebody's parents were actually doing that. They were just in their fuck it years. They're like, I don't care. I'm shoplifting. Do whatever you want. And that makes sense.
You
It
know what
makes sense.
surprised me watching the World Series, because I don't watch a lot of TV with commercials. We're missing out. There's like a red boner pill. We've cornered the Blue Chew market.
There
but
is a one. I
There's a
know.
red boner pill.
What's it
that-
called?
MAGA boners?
It's called like Sparks or something. Yeah,
Sparks.
Mega boners. I think it's Sparks, right?
There's I mean, yes, everything. What happens with pharmaceuticals is once they become generic, we can all license them. So if we wanted the SCR boner pill,
We do want.
we could sell our own version of that.
Oh, what color?
Huh? The color of your beard,
White
Mike.
label.
Round.
Yes,
boner
let's do this.
Yes.
All right, but Johnny, you did bring up a very good point. You have a legitimate car to talk about in the driveway. We should talk
Can't
about
we
that
talk
before
about
we go.
boner pills?
We did. Tell us what you have.
Panamera GTS is the boner pill of executive sedans.
First of all, I can't believe they're still making the Panamera. Is anybody buying that?
Not many.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
Right,
This
it's
is-
all Taycan. I thought they all went to the Taycan. No,
No, they went to the
Panamera's
Cayenne.
bigger.
Yeah, they went to the Cayenne. Yeah, this is the GTS. It's in a lovely shade of oak green metallic Nero, which I think we determined Nero just means it costs $5,000 more for no reason whatsoever. And it's great. You know, it's sadly it's a European spec, and I just feel bad for our friends in Europe because every time they start the car,
The worst.
the sound, you're exceeding the sound limit chime, all the lane keeping. So the car's constantly like woof, woof. It's like making noises at you, everything you do. And you have to go in every time and turn off two different things. So it sucks if you're in Europe and buy a new car.
Yeah.
and that's it.
All new European cars are
Do you like it?
It's, you know what, yeah, I like it. It's great. You know what it's killer for is like coming home from the Junkyard auction yesterday. Everybody was driving like, 30 miles an hour on city streets. And so you put it in sport mode and you can whip ass around everybody. So I really appreciated having a car that could go 70 and a 30. Like, no
How many of
problem.
those do you think they sell in the United States a year?
Probably around GTS or Panamera's
I don't
total.
know. Just Panameras.
Total?
I mean, I always loved them when I drove them.
Yeah, they're
Five,
it's great.
5,000 a year, 10,000
No,
a
I
year?
think it'd be more than that.
Yeah?
We could look it up. It's probably 15,000, something like that.
I don't know.
A couple thousand a
They're-
month.
they're
Oh, they
around,
might sell
though.
a couple thousand a month.
I just saw, because early Panameras they cost nothing. I mean, you can get a 2010 or 11 Panamera Turbo S for like 30 grand.
Really?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that a legit car?
Yeah.
Oh, they were.
Oh, those
amazing.
are fast.
Yeah, they're
Sure
so
was.
fucking quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but there was one on Bring a Trailer yesterday. I was like, it was like very well kept, Jewish racing gold, great color for the car, and it said like $100,000 in service receipts.
Oh,
comes
my
with
God.
The car. And I was
Not-
like, whoa, all right.
Wow.
For like a Panamera, and I was like, all right, that's a lot.
That's not right.
You know, and it had like 65,000 miles on it.
But it's
Wow.
that just means it's ownered out. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. But
scares me.
it's a. I would love to have this car. It's a great car.
I don't know what those receipts were for, and the cars aren't known for being like super problematic. It's not like, oh, don't get one because the timing chains explode or anything. Like
no, but it's a good point. I mean, whenever you're buying any of this stuff, Porsche or Mercedes, you're buying those hourly labor fees.
Yeah,
and they're all the same
stuff.
I was going to say air suspension would be my biggest guess, and that's probably $20,000 to fully.
A lot of people don't think about that. They think I'll just buy one of these older cars and I'll get away with murder.
Yeah,
but not when you're doing service. It's the same as the new car.
No,
the same as the new car. You got to be careful.
Yeah, you want to buy a 33-year-old Bentley, daily drive that.
You're doing well with it.
Yeah, it's fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
he likes
I've had to put some money into it, but
serious or
not
money?
Serious.
What were the problems?
Well, I think we went over this when I bought it, right? So there was like, it had kind of been sitting for maybe a year. So major service and, go a little extra overboard because Hannah's going to be driving it. So the first major service, which also included 4 new tires and replacing both the memory seat computers on both sides, was like $12,000.
Oh, but other than that,
and then a week later, I had to do the entire steering rack, which was $2,000. Since
That's not
then,
crazy for a steering
rack. That was like in the first couple 100 miles.
But this is not something you're investing in. You just want something that works, and you don't care about where you're at with it, right?
Well, I care for curiosity reasons,
right.
And I'm not like so
made
of money that I can burn 10 or 15 grand and not care.
Right.
But like, that money is worth it to have a safe and reliable car to drive.
Exactly. Well, that's how I think about the Series 2A. That's not something I ever think I'll get my money out of. I just want to enjoy it, and I want it to work right.
Yeah.
But you're probably okay on that car.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
and we'll find out. After a year, like December 27th will be a year. And so after a year, we're going to decide, okay, is it time to sell it? And because that was the game, to daily it for a year, or do we keep it for a while?
And what does that look like? That decision session? Is that a meeting? Is that a dinner?
It's more about Hannah. It's because
so you'll sit down.
My wife's car. So
you're going to sit down at dinner and you're going to have a discussion about whether you keep it or not.
Yeah. Do you want to keep driving this, or do you want to get like a regular ass car? Because as you well know, having one regular ass car in the family is probably a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a very good idea.
So, but it's been good. It has not, other than the big stuff from sitting, totally great.
Really?
Perfect. Yeah.
How's the AC?
So cold, there's condensation on.
Excellent.
I love this.
Oh,
I love
the
hearing
greatest.
That's great.
But you know what? You don't think about very often, especially because the 4 of us probably don't spend a lot of time in the back seats of cars. But nobody really did rear seat air vents until like the mid to late 90s. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's kind of, all the new luxury cars have like 3-4 vents in the back now, but the Bentley
So it's just supposed to come back from the front.
It just makes its way to the back eventually. And so if you're in the back, if we have people in the back, we have to super crank the AC just to get it to the back. But literal condensation comes off the same vent rings they're using now.
Right,
It's right. You buy a brand new Bentley GT, it's those same beautiful round rings with the plungers. My car's got the same
I like the
shit.
plunger.
You ever seen a Jaguar? It was a Model X or Model 10 or the 420G, I think it was called.
Yeah.
So because they're from England, they didn't have AC, but they wanted to sell them in LA, so they had to add AC. So it takes up basically the entire trunk as an AC unit, and there's one vent in the back. It throws AC over the passenger's head in the back forward.
Oh.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
it's great, a great car, but it's so bad.
Those were pretty. I noticed on our GT3 RS, did you notice that the driver's window makes a squeak going up and down?
Yes.
What is that?
You think it's dust?
It's still new car stickiness.
Really?
Yeah. There are 2 issues with that car. That, which I just, through use, it only has 800 miles on it, right? I just thought the up and down eventually will unstick that.
You know what
I never heard that.
What you can do is use alcohol on a microfiber and just do the whole window with alcohol, and there might be a little window sticker adhesive left or something.
It's just like it goes like that, and then there's vibration in the left and right door.
Yes,
and
the carbon panels.
Yeah, the carbon panels vibrate.
That's very annoying to me.
Yeah, but that's just
you
the
guys
car.
paid extra for that.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly the thing you paid for your street legal race car.
Yeah. But I honestly, I do. I chalk that up to race car behavior. I don't even hear it anymore. I don't even care.
Yeah.
I called Mike about that, and he goes, "Yeah, you got a race car." And I said, "Yeah." And the sticking, like, whatever.
So, do you guys? I just found out. I mean, maybe people will think I'm an idiot for this, but I just found out.
They'll think you're an idiot no matter what you say next.
Right. But I just found out that almost all 911s, certainly all non-GT cars, not just 911s across the spectrum, and some of the GT cars, although I haven't figured out exactly which ones yet, have dummy temperature gauges that just stay at 194 all the time instead of showing the real temperature.
I've suspected
which is like
that.
200 to 225.
And then they only do anything when it's like really bad, when there's a problem.
Yeah,
then
if
a red light comes on.
If it goes past like 235 or 240, then it will show so from 0 to 194, it's the real temperature, but it stops going up at 194, even though the engine's actual operating temperature is like 225.
And why is that?
Because people were calling thinking their engine was running too hot and complaining about it, and they were like,
So rather than educate people, let's just consider them stupid and play to that.
Zuckerman, you can't educate people.
Even Porsche.
You can't educate people. You know this.
True.
And so this was driving me nuts because my car, my Spider, has a real gauge. You can program it in the ECU to make it show real temperature. By the way, it's apparently a very easy thing to do, but mine shows real temperature. But then I had driven all these Porsche press cars that were on 194, so I'm going, well, my car has a different engine. It's running 20 degrees hotter than these press cars.
Possible?
Oh, so you're freaking out.
I'm not freaking out, but I'm saying, is this a concern? It's not like in the red, but it's elevated. And I'm trying to figure it out, and I'm talking to everybody and trying to learn. Eventually, I learned that because I went out driving with Marco, TLG Auto, he's got a stock 718 Spider. And we drove up to 39, and every few minutes I stopped, and I said, give me your temperatures. And they were the same in his car as they are in my car. But I've driven other press cars, 718 Spiders, that had dummy gauges. The GT3, the ST, and the GT3 RS all have dummy gauges. They stay on 194 no matter what.
Wow.
So I'm trying to figure this
So
out.
they're creating their own reality.
I think Volkswagen Group cars all do that. How many cars have you driven where the temperature gauge never moves, right? It gets up to temp.
Yeah.
it just sits
I've
in
never
the
noticed.
middle.
Now I'm going to be obsessed.
Most cars have dummy gauges, like your Bronco or whatever will stay, because people feel better when the gauge is just right in the middle.
Yeah.
Everything is
sell that.
okay.
So it's like a thumbs up.
Yeah, and then if something's wrong, it moves. But all the quote experts, who typically are experts, said not Porsche. Porsche's going to give you the real number.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you a dummy gauge. They know their customer's not stupid.
Why not just take the gauge away altogether then?
It's a dummy gauge.
Yeah, but why not? You know what I mean? Just
Because something does go
we want to see
wrong.
things
well,
move.
then the warning light comes up. It's essentially what you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really need to know the number?
No,
You're
we want to be lied to.
I
want
don't
to know the number, and I want to know that number.
The phrase "dummy gauge" gives me anxiety. I don't want that. I don't want something telling me a fake time.
Well, you can have it changed in your RS to show the real temperature. You just have to be okay with the fact that number is higher than
that's
you're
what we're
comfortable
gonna go
with.
do right now. We're gonna end the show and we're gonna go do that.
You can do it.
Tomorrow's Halloween, everybody. And if you've been paying attention, our new video game, Redacted, is launching wherever you get your video games: PlayStation, Xbox, Steam, and elsewhere. It's Striking Distance Studios, and it's Ben and Steve, who are listeners of Spike's Car Radio, Porsche enthusiasts. We all got together and made a rogue-like video game. I worked on the characters. They did all the programming. It launches tomorrow. You got to check it out and support our friends at Striking Distance Studios. If you like Hades, if you want to play a game where it's just rock'em sock'em robots, I think it's a prison on the moon of Jupiter, Callisto.
I was
and
cut out
there's
of the
a
whole
zombie
project.
outbreak, and you've got to get to that last escape pod before everybody else. And then you play over and over again. You know, roguelikes, you play over and over and over again. You finish the game, you go back, and more of the story we wrote is revealed.
It's a zombie outbreak
Yes.
in a prison.
It's
in
a prison
space.
where I don't know how much I can tell you about the story, but the Callipolis, the secret organization, decides to do.
Did you come up with that name?
No. This is all accepted lore.
When Stellantis comes out of bankruptcy, this is their new name.
There's a video game called the Callisto Protocol, which is, I guess, the big cinematic games, like GTA. It's one of those big cinematic games. This is a roguelike. It's a little appetizer to have some fun after that. Who knows what they're doing after this?
What's the name?
The Callipolis.
The Callipolis.
So they decide to try to create some sort of superhuman like substance, or they discover it inside the moon of the planet, some version of that, and they experiment on the prisoners. But of course, everything gets out of control, and
the Callipolises grow.
The whole place melts down. And you're the player, and you've got to get the fuck out of there. You're a security guard.
I've strained my Callipolis.
I've strained the Callipolis. Believe me, it was hard for me to follow when I was hearing the whole
stop
story.
touching your Callipolis.
But the game,
this is what the private label boner pills will be called.
Callipolis. But the game is redacted, and it's fun, and I've been playing it for the last half year. I've got the advanced version and developer menu and some super prototype gaming computer, which has been really fun, and it's come such a long way, and I'm really excited for you guys to try it and check it out. And congratulations, Ben and Steve.
And Spike.
And the group, our little team at Striking Distance Studios.
Were you allowed to say who the voices were?
I actually don't know, but yeah, they were Hollywood actors. I don't know how much of it I can say, but...
Could you say my former neighbor?
Judd Nelson.
Oh, he moved?
No, I'm here now. He's still where he was.
Right.
He was great. We had a lot of great actors come in. We, auditioned a lot of great people, and I was in charge of that and did all the recording here in LA, and it was so fun. So I've never done anything like that, but I had a great time doing it. I'm excited about it, yeah. So check it out. I'm sure they're credited on the game somewhere, right?
They must be.
They have to be.
Yeah,
Judd Nelson was fantastic, by the way. Rode a Harley to the studio every day from West Hollywood to Venice. West Hollywood to Venice, right? That's
right.
So, but imagine, and he's
fucking Brat Pack, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, just shows up. He goes, "I'm ready to go," and just would go. And it's different kind of recording session. You're not. There was one recording session I thought was kind of the worst. When we were doing B-movie, you're doing lots and lots of takes. I didn't know there was a level past that, and that's video games, where you're banging out 300 lines an hour, three times each line. Get away from the zombie! Get away from the... and it's maddening, but Judd just crushed it. Just crushed it. He says, I don't even need a break. I go, I do. I have to stop.
Wow.
I can keep going. And then halfway through, he broke his ankle. I think he fell off a roof, and he was on crutches doing lines from his house in Maine or something. So fun. So fun. I loved every minute of it. It was really fun. And anyway, check out Redacted, everybody. And that's our show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, for showing up. We didn't know you were going to be here this morning. We thought we were going to get coffee, and
I heard
came here.
I heard there was sandwiches.
You got sandwiches?
Oh, I need
Very
a sandwich.
good.
Zuckerman, thank you for hosting us. Johnny, thank you for not smoking a cigar. And we'll see you next week. I think another audio show.
I'll be in Vegas. I'll be at the Vegas Concourse next week.
We'll bring the Johnny sticker. We'll have it right there.
I hear good things about the
Johnny sticker's doing a great job.
Johnny's on my show this week.
He is?
So yeah.
Yeah. Longest show.
We recorded it 2 days ago, but it airs Tuesday or
How
Thursday.
long is the show? What do you mean the longest?
2 hours
2:40.
49. Wow.
Yeah.
And do people actually
2:49.
listen that long?
Yeah.
Can you see like where they stop listening?
I can find that, yeah.
Yeah.
I did just do a really fun... last night I went to Misha's birthday party.
I couldn't go.
I figured
wanted
you were
to go.
invited, but
Yeah.
there was another YouTube guy there who does like YouTube guitar tutorials, and we had a pretty fun game where we pulled up our YouTube Studio app on our phone, and we had a competition to see who had the nerdier audience, and I actually got beat out by a little bit, but mine was more male. I had a 97% male audience.
Wow, well that makes sense.
But he had like 28% over 65. I was like, wow. Wow.
We have around 80% here, and we have a big audience of 18 to 35. That's
Wait,
where we
you
have
said
a big audience.
80% over...
80% male. Yeah,
Oh,
so somewhere in that.
We're
category.
80% over 65.
Yeah, we're the oldest part of our audience is us, which is weird.
Yeah.
But I think we'll still have more.
We're
balls and
20%
hills shows.
Look how
female?
Rufus is...
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of women that listen to this show.
That's just
and it's
surprising.
And I don't think, I mean, there are the gearhead ladies who we all know who reach out to us and we talk to, but there are a lot of husbands who are like, you got to listen to the show because it makes me happy. And the wives will either like it or not, and then they write us in. They go, my husband started me on this show. We met some of them at
Luft.
At Luft, right. It was fun. So
Brit Porsche lady or something like that.
Oh, I saw her at Philippe's the day before Luft. Yeah. My wife was like,
okay, we'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday and be sure to subscribe. Now, I'm gonna take a nap.